Hi friends, I'm Carol Keller, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Illinois in the US, and today I have a card using the Branching Out bundle. I've had to take a couple of weeks off for several different reasons, so I hope you've missed me a little bit and that you're happy that I'm back, because I'm happy that I'm back too. Let's get started with the card. Here we go. Here is the card that I designed. I really like this set, this Branching Out bundle, because of the sentiments in it. And, you know, at first glance, maybe it looks a little Christmassy, but it says happy birthday, happiest birthday wishes. And I feel like that's great for somebody whose birthday is around the holidays. So you have that wintry, Christmassy feel, but it's a birthday card, a little bit of a surprise. All right, so let me show you how I made it. I am starting with a shaded spruce card base. I have my bone folder. And I have a piece of Designer Series paper, and it comes from the Elegant Pine Snowflakes DSP pack. It is cut to 4 inches by 5 1/4, so first layer size. And we are going to put that on right away. And it doesn't look very directional, which is nice. We don't have to worry about that. And now I've cut from the die set several different things, which I'll bring in now. Make sure I have everything. I love keeping them in the envelope so they don't get lost. So I have cut out all of this from the die set, the companion die set that goes with those branching out stamp set. So I've cut 3 layers of the labels. This is an Old Olive, Shaded Spruce, and Cherry Cobbler. We'll do our stamping first. So I'm going to bring in my Shaded Spruce ink pad and that Happiest Birthday Wishes stamp from the set. And we're going to stamp it toward the bottom. Make sure we've got some good ink. While we've got the ink out, I'm going to put that aside for a second. We're going to stamp the inside as well. So because it's so dark, I made a layer of Old Olive cut to the same size as the DSP, 4 inches by 5 1/4. And for the inside, we're using this sentiment, also in Shaded Spruce, wishing you a day filled with many happy moments. I'm going to do the envelope as well, stamp the envelope. So we're going to do the happiest birthday wishes on that. Right down in the corner. Whoops. That was my fault. It hit the envelope too soon, but luckily it's the envelope and not the inside. So I can live with a smeared envelope, but not with a smeared inside. All right, so our stamping is done. Move the envelope out of the way, and we'll put this right on the inside. So I'm going to use my seal for that. So once you have everything cut, because there's so little stamping and everything, the card comes together very quickly, which is always nice. And this goes on the inside. And you know, this is traditional size for the inside, but I do want to show you on this card, I didn't have a piece that was quite as big, so I just cut one a little smaller. So this one is 3 3/4 inches by 5 instead of 4 by 5 1/4. So whatever you have, whatever works for you. Don't feel you have to be tied to that size. Now we're going to layer all 3 of the labels. The next thing we're going to do is bring in some ribbon. So I have the gold striped mesh ribbon. I'm going to bring in my glue dots. Put one on the end. And I did it just under halfway, just above where the sentiment is. So maybe I'll move it up a little bit. Well, I like it there though. Well, maybe I'll move it up a little. The reason that I'm even debating is that when I tied the little knot here, it kind of got in the way of the sentiment. So maybe I will move it up just a little bit. Make that easier. Grab my snips. And snip that off. We'll put another glue dot on the other side. And make it nice and tight to the back. And then we can actually, before we, well, it'll be easier to finish this first. We're gonna tie that little knot. So usually what I tell people is if you want it to go one way, you have to set it in there on the opposite diagonal. So I want it to be the opposite way from this. So let's see if this works. But I think it will. Just gonna tie a little knot there. Move it over to the left. And we're going to trim it at an angle and make this a little shorter because that for sure is interfering with the sentiment. I think we'll do it this way. And then this can go on the card. So I'm going to grab my seal for that. Always going over the ribbon even this way is a good idea so that it provides an extra kind of layer of adhesive. So you've got one on each side to hold it in place better. And then this one we're going to put more toward the right with almost an even space, a little narrower on this side. Because we're going to take this piece, and all three of these I put an adhesive sheet on the back before I put them on my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine or through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, just because they're so narrow. So I'm going to take the paper off. And we're going to layer that on this side. Burnish it to get that adhesive to stick. Now we're going to take this one, and these were in Cherry Cobbler and this in Shaded Spruce. So I've got my little pieces that need to come off plus the one big piece. So I've got the little ones off. There's the big one. I'm going to layer that on the front, going behind the ribbon. You could do this before you put the ribbon on if you wanted. I wanted to overlap those labels a little bit. Again, burnishing it. And then last but not least, we have this piece. We're going to take that paper off and then put it here. So pops of color that bring out the Shaded Spruce, and you know, I purposely did this in Shaded Spruce to copy this, and of course this to copy the holly berries, and this too for that matter. So we're almost done. We just have a little bit of bling left. Gotta have the bling. For this, surprisingly, I'm using the Strawberry Slush and Pretty in Pink gems because these are the ones that I use, the clear ones. And it was funny because I was trying to figure out how I would use them, and I thought they were a pretty good use for this card. Because I had the gold here, I wanted to add some more with the bling. So I've got my Take Your Pick tool, and we're gonna scatter several of them around. Down at the bottom, large and small. And then at the opposite corner, up here, large and then small, and then one more small one right up here. Press them in to make sure again the adhesive sticks, and that is it. That is our card. And then I'll show you what I used. You saw the gems and the ribbon. This is the Branching Out stamp set. I really like the sentiments. I love the font. And I didn't use any of these because, you know, I wasn't sure how they would look on the inside. That's what I would have done if I used them. See, we've got it burnished, make sure that sticks. To use them on the inside, maybe here, you could definitely do that. But Because the card was coming together so quickly, I didn't want to take the time, but you absolutely could do that. Here are the companion dies. So these are fantastic. I've used the 3 smallest sizes on this card, and then plus 3 of the 4 other dies. I have some pine cones there too that are very cute, but because there were no pine cones in here, that's why I didn't use it. And I think, oh, and then the designer series paper is called Elegant Pine Snowflakes. So here are, I'm actually running out of the paper, so here's what I have left. This is the one we used today. And I do have one more little little piece that I'm actually using on another card. So, and let me show you. This is, so these two are different. They look very similar, but they're different. But that's the other side, and then the other side of this one. And I'll take those out of the way so I can flip these over. And so these are the other sides. And I debated using one of these, but then I decided I wanted something with a little more to it than just neutral. But certainly that is an option too. And I like this because I feel like you could use it for masculine or feminine birthday. You choose. All right, thanks so much for watching. I'm going to turn the camera back around to face me to sign off. All right, thanks friends for joining me today. I appreciate you watching very much. I love all the comments. Keep them coming. I see all of them and I respond to all of them. While you're on my YouTube channel, please subscribe if you haven't already done so. If you click the bell, you'll be notified when I post new videos. I have lots of other cards, scrapbook pages, home decor items, tips and techniques, and beginner videos, so check those out as well. And I will see you again soon. Take care, everyone. Happy stamping.